Namaskar. A warm welcome to World News and Indian Perspective on All India Radio. This is R.S. Raghu and with me is Vaibhav Jyotsna Srivastava, bringing glimpses of the major developments of the day from across the globe. Over the next half an hour, we shall bring you the latest from the world of politics, economy, sports, entertainment and more. The headlines. India objects to unwarranted references to Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh in a joint statement of China and Pakistan. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar to embark on a two-day visit to Russia on 7th of November to hold talks with his Russian counterpart Sergei Lavrov. Pakistan's former Prime Minister Imran Khan injured in firing during protest march in eastern Punjab province. US and South Korea extend ongoing joint air drills amid tension in the region as North Korea fires multiple missiles. 6 grain ships leave Ukraine ports after Russia rejoins deal. UN report warns that Europe is warming at twice the global average. And in cricket, Pakistan defeats South Africa by 33 runs in Group 2 match of Super 12 stage in Men's T20 World Cup at Sydney. India has objected to several unwarranted references related to Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh in a joint statement released following the visit of Pakistan Prime Minister to China. New Delhi has reiterated that Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh are and always will be integral and inalienable parts of India. India's External Affairs Ministry spokesperson Arindam Bagchi told media that India has consistently conveyed its protests and concerns to China and Pakistan on China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, which includes projects from the sovereign territory of India that is under forcible and illegal external occupation. He added that New Delhi resolutely rejects any attempts to utilize such projects to change status quo in the area. Mr. Bagchi also said any attempts to involve third parties in such activities are inherently illegal, illegitimate and unacceptable.
The Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir and the Union Territory of Ladakh are and will always be an integral and inalienable part of India, and no other country has the locus standi to comment on the same. As regards the so-called China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, we have consistently conveyed our protests and our concerns to China and Pakistan. CPEC includes projects on the sovereign territory of India that is under forcible and illegal external occupation. We resolutely reject any attempts to utilize such projects to change the status quo in the area.
In today's Hotspot section, we bring you news commentary on India's stand at Shanghai Cooperation Organization Council Heads of Government meeting.
The Shanghai Cooperation Organization (SCO) is an 8-member multilateral organization established on 15th of June 2001 in Shanghai, China, by leaders of China, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Russia, Tajikistan and Uzbekistan. On 9th June 2017, at the historic summit in Astana, India and Pakistan officially joined the SCO as full-fledged members. At the 22nd meeting of the SCO, Council of Heads of State in Samarkand, Uzbekistan on 16th September 2022, the Prime Minister Narendra Modi spoke about the important role of the SCO because the whole world is facing the challenges of economic recovery after the pandemic. He said SCO member countries contribute about 30% of global GDP and 40% of the world's population live in SCO countries, and added India supports greater cooperation and mutual trust among SCO members.
महामारी और यूक्रेन के संकट से ग्लोबल सप्लाई चेन्स में कई बाधाएं उत्पन्न हुई, जिसके कारण पूरा विश्व अभूतपूर्व ऊर्जा एवं खाद्य संकट का सामना कर रहा है। एससीओ को हमारे क्षेत्र में विश्वस्त, रेजिलिएंट और डाइवर्सिफाइड सप्लाई चेन्स विकसित करने के लिए प्रयत्न करने चाहिए।
On 1st November 2022, the 21st meeting of the Council of Heads of Governments, Prime Ministers of the SCO was held in virtual format. Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of India, Dr. S. Jaishankar, Prime Minister of the Republic of Kazakhstan, A. Ismailov, Prime Minister of State Council of the People's Republic of China, Li Keqiang, Chairman of the Cabinet of Ministers of the Kyrgyz Republic, A.U. Yaparov, Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Islamic Republic of Pakistan, B.B. Zardari, Chairman of the Government of the Russian Federation, M.V. Mishustin, Prime Minister of the Republic of Tajikistan, K. Rasulzoda, and Prime Minister of the Republic of Uzbekistan, A.N. Aripov, participated in it. Premier of the State Council of the People's Republic of China, Li Keqiang, chaired the meeting. The SCO-CHG meeting was also attended by observer states, Secretary General of the SCO, Executive Director of the SCO Regional Anti-Terrorist Structure, RATS, Turkmenistan and other invited guests. The SCO Council of Heads of Government meeting is held annually and focuses on trade and economic agenda of the organization and approves its annual budget. India remains actively engaged in various SCO activities and dialogue mechanisms in the region as well as other multilateral cooperation within the SCO. In his address, External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar underlined India's strong cultural and historical connect with the SCO region and reiterated India's firm commitment towards deepening multilateral cooperation in the areas of food and energy security, climate change, trade and culture. Dr. S. Jaishankar underlined the need for better connectivity in the SCO region built on centrality of interest of Central Asian states. He said it will unlock the economic potential of this region, in which the Chabahar port and the international north-south transport corridor could become enablers. These connectivity projects should respect the sovereignty and territorial integrity of member states and respect international law. In a reference to China's Belt and Road Initiative (BRI), India refused to endorse BRI at the meet, becoming the only country in the 8-member SCO to do so. It has been critical of the project since it includes the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, which passes through Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. The External Affairs Minister spoke of the launch of the Global Mission Life or Lifestyle for Environment. It was launched by Prime Minister Narendra Modi on the 20th of October 2022 and envisions the replacing of the prevalent use and dispose economy by a circular economy. The mission intends to nudge individuals to undertake simple acts in their daily lives that can contribute significantly to climate change when embraced across the world. The External Affairs Minister drew attention to India's commitment in fighting the challenge of climate change and also our achievements made in this direction. He also emphasized India's strong recovery on the economic front after the pandemic and also expressed interest in expanding India-SCO trade on the basis of fair market access. Dr. Jaishankar highlighted that in the year 2023, the UN International Year of Millets, India intends to foster greater cooperation with SCO member states in countering the food crisis. He added that India's total trade with SCO members is only $141 billion, which has the potential to increase manifold. Fair market access is to our mutual benefit and the only way to move forward. The External Affairs Minister concluded by saying that India looks forward to the ongoing chairship of the SCO. In a friendly, constructive and business-like atmosphere, the heads of delegations exchanged their opinions regarding key issues of world and regional development, discussed the priority measures to strengthen trade, economic, cultural and humanitarian cooperation within the SCO. They reaffirmed that the SCO is in favor of increasing effectiveness of the World Trade Organization (WTO) as a key platform for discussing the international trade agenda and adopting the multilateral trading system rules. They emphasized the need for early implementation of an inclusive reform of the organization, focusing on the issues of its development and adaptation to modern economic realities, as well as effective implementation of monitoring, negotiation and dispute settlement functions. The heads of delegations called for deepening cooperation between the SCO and the UN and its specialized agencies, other international and regional organizations. Regular meeting of the Council of Heads of Governments, Prime Ministers of the SCO member states will be held in the Kyrgyz Republic in 2023. This is Saira Mujtaba for World News.
India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar will be on a 2-day visit to Russia beginning 7th of this month. During the visit, Dr. S. Jaishankar will meet his counterpart Sergei Lavrov. Discussions are expected to cover the entire range of bilateral issues as well as exchange of views on various regional and international developments during the visit. Dr. Jaishankar will also meet Deputy Prime Minister of Russia and Minister of Trade and Industry Denis Manturov, his counterpart for the India-Russia Intergovernmental Commission on Trade, Economic, Scientific, Technological and Cultural Cooperation. India's External Affairs Ministry spokesperson Arindam Bagchi said the issues pertaining to bilateral economic cooperation in various domains will also be discussed.
The visit will be in continuation of the regular high-level dialogue between the two sides. External Affairs Minister had last visited Russia in July 2021, followed by the visit of the Russian Foreign Minister to New Delhi in April this year.
The visit, which will be in continuation of the regular high-level dialogue between the two sides, is taking place amid the ongoing conflict in Ukraine. Indian Chemicals and Fertilizers Minister Mansukh Mandaviya inaugurated the 12th Biennial International Exhibition and Conference India Chem 2022 in New Delhi. Addressing the gathering on Wednesday, Dr. Mandaviya stated that India's progressing and industry-friendly atmosphere is being created by the government with a holistic approach. He also said that the government is pro-poor, pro-farmer, but industry-friendly. He further stated that industrial development is a must if any country wants to cater to the needs of its people, generate employment, and establish itself in the international market. He said that an ecosystem has to be created for industrial development to happen. Dr. Mandaviya said that this is the quality of this government, that it does not think in token, but in total.
Pakistan's former Prime Minister Imran Khan was injured after a gunman opened fire at his rally in the Wazirabad district in eastern Punjab province. Multiple local news channels reported that the Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf PTI chairman sustained bullet injuries on his leg during the attack. He was rushed to a hospital and is now in a stable condition. The lone attacker was arrested immediately. One person died and 8 others, including several PTI leaders, were injured in the firing at the rally. The former Pakistan Prime Minister was leading a long anti-government march towards Islamabad. Media reports said the firing took place near the container-mounted truck carrying the cricketer-turned-politician during his protest march near Zafar Ali Khan Chowk in the Wazirabad district of Gujranwala division. Imran Khan was travelling in a large convoy of trucks and cars heading towards the capital, Islamabad, as part of his campaign aimed at forcing the government to hold early elections. Pakistan's former Prime Minister was ousted in a no-confidence vote in Parliament in April this year. He has alleged that his ouster was a conspiracy engineered by his successor, Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif, that the new Premier has denied. Taking to Twitter, Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif condemned the firing incident in Gujranwala and directed Interior Minister Rana Sanuullah to seek an immediate report from the Inspector General of Police and Chief Secretary of Punjab. India has said it is closely keeping an eye on developments in Pakistan after former Prime Minister Imran Khan was reportedly shot during a rally. Replying to a media query, External Affairs Ministry spokesperson Arindam Bagchi said it is a development that just took place and New Delhi is closely keeping an eye on and will continue to monitor ongoing developments.
Actually, a development that just took place as I was coming to this briefing, and this is something that we are closely keeping an eye on, and we will continue to monitor the ongoing developments, but I don't have anything beyond that to say because it's just a developing story.
This is All India Radio giving you the world news. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on Twitter at AIR News Alerts.
6 grain vessels left Ukrainian ports on Thursday after Russia resumed its participation in the UN broker deal which allows grain exports through the Black Sea. Turkey's Defense Minister Hulusi Akar in a statement said the number of ships leaving Ukraine's ports reached 426 and the amount of grain transported exceeded 9.7 million tons. He said they will intensify their efforts on the extension of the grain initiative which will expire on the 19th of this month. Russia on Wednesday announced its return to the implementation of a grain export deal through the Black Sea, saying Ukraine has promised not to use the humanitarian corridor for military attacks. The Russian Defense Ministry said in a statement that the Joint Coordination Center for the Implementation of the Black Sea Grain Initiative has received a written guarantee from Ukraine of not using the shipping route defined in the deal and Ukrainian ports designated for grain export to conduct military operations against Russia. It said the Ukrainian side officially assured that the maritime humanitarian corridor will be used only in accordance with the provisions of the grain export deal and related regulations of the Joint Coordination Center. Moscow on Saturday temporarily pulled out of the grain deal, accusing Ukraine of using a safe shipping corridor established under the agreement to launch a drone assault on its Black Sea fleet. On the 22nd of July, Russia and Ukraine separately signed a document in Istanbul with Turkey and the United Nations on the grain and fertilizer exports from Ukraine and Russia to ensure supplies to global markets amid the Russia-Ukraine conflict. North Korea fired multiple missiles on Thursday, including a possible failed intercontinental ballistic missile, ICBM, prompting the United States and South Korea to extend air drills that have angered Pyongyang. The launches came a day after the North Korea fired a daily record 23 missiles, including one that landed off the coast of South Korea for the first time and drew swift condemnation from Washington, Seoul and Tokyo. Since Monday, South Korea and the United States have been conducting one of the largest air exercises ever, with hundreds of South Korean and US warplanes, including F-35 fighters, staging around-the-clock simulated missions. South Korea's Air Force, in a statement, said that after Thursday's ICBM launch, the Allies agreed to extend the drills past Friday when they had been scheduled to end. Late on Thursday, Park Jong-chong, secretary of the Central Committee of North Korea's ruling Workers' Party, said that the United States and South Korea made a very dangerous decision by extending the drills and was shoving the situation out of control.
In Brazil, outgoing President Jair Bolsonaro has asked his supporters to stand down after truck drivers blocked highways around the country to protest Sunday's election result. In a brief statement on Twitter, he urged supporters to clear roadways so that people could move freely. After election results were announced on Sunday, pro-Bolsonaro truck drivers and other protesters staged hundreds of roadblocks in more than 20 states around Brazil. Some of them called for a military intervention to keep Bolsonaro in power. The Supreme Federal Court ordered the use of all necessary measures to open roads. Local media reports that in Sao Paulo, military police used tear gas to disperse protesters at one major blockade. Federal Highway Police said 732 roadblocks had been cleared across the country. Around 146 remained till yesterday. The protests threatened to disrupt agricultural exports, while the main airport in Sao Paulo cancelled 48 flights. Australia on Thursday urged its multi-billion-dollar mining industry to support the government's plans for a referendum to give the country's indigenous people a voice in Parliament. Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese's Labour government is seeking a referendum required to alter the Constitution on recognising indigenous people in the Constitution and requiring consultation with them on decisions that affect their lives. The proposal to enshrine an indigenous voice in Parliament was a pledge Albanese's Labour Party took to the May general election, where it ended almost a decade of conservative Liberal National Coalition government. Australian Resources Minister Madeleine King said at an international mining conference in Sydney that this voice will provide a means for First Nations people to more directly put forward their views to Parliament on issues that directly affect them, such as the mining and cultural heritage protection. Australia's constitution does not refer to the country's indigenous people, despite generations of protests by the First Nations people for recognition of the injustices they suffered since European colonization in the 1700s.
A new British study suggests that a person infected with monkeypox can transmit the virus to other people even before developing symptoms, and that this type of transmission has been responsible for the current outbreak. The study, published on Wednesday in the British Medical Journal by Britain's Health Security Agency, examined more than 2,700 people with monkeypox cases in the UK from the 6th of May to the 1st of August. According to the research, 10 pairs showed evidence of pre-symptomatic transmission. It then concluded that an estimated 53% of monkeypox cases were due to pre-symptomatic transmission. The study found that the virus could be transmitted up to 4 days before the symptoms start. The most symptoms found are painful lesions, fever, chills, swollen lymph nodes, headaches, muscle aches, back pain and fatigue. Nachi Arunachalam, the monkeypox incident director at the United Kingdom's Health Security Agency, in a statement said, "More work is needed to understand pre-symptomatic and asymptomatic infections and what that might mean for future policies and management of the monkeypox outbreak. Since early May this year, monkeypox cases have been reported from countries where the disease is not endemic, even though the endemic countries continue to report the cases. Europe and North America have reported the most cases with travel history, rather than West or Central Africa, where the monkeypox virus is endemic. This is the first time that many monkeypox cases and clusters have been reported concurrently in non-endemic and endemic countries in widely disparate geographical areas. The United Nations, in its report, said that the temperatures in Europe have increased at more than twice the global average over the past 3 decades, showing the fastest rise of any continent on Earth. The UN's World Meteorological Organization, WMO, and the European Union's Copernicus Climate Change Service, in a joint report, found that the European region has, on an average, seen temperatures rise 0.5 degrees Celsius each decade since the year 1991. As a result, alpine glaciers lost 30 meters in ice thickness between 1997 and 2021, while the Greenland ice sheet is swiftly melting and contributing to accelerating sea level rise. Last year, Greenland experienced melting and the first ever recorded rainfall at its highest point. The report cautioned that regardless of future levels of global warming, temperatures would likely continue to rise across Europe at a rate exceeding global mean temperature changes. The new report, released ahead of the UN's 27th Conference on Climate Change, set to open in Egypt on Sunday, examined the situation in Europe up to and including the year 2021. It found that last year high-impact weather and climate events, mainly floods and storms, led to hundreds of deaths, directly affected more than 500,000 people, and caused economic damage across Europe exceeding $50 billion. At the same time, the report highlighted some positives, including the success of many European countries in slashing greenhouse gas emissions.
Indonesia on Thursday handed over the presidency of the R20 summit, the religious grouping of the Group of 20 Forum, to India, which New Delhi will host in 2023. The handover ceremony was held for government and religious leaders from India, which will host the G20 Religion Forum next year. R20 is a part of a series of G20 events initiated under Indonesia's G20 presidency. The G20 summit, which is a group of 20 leading economies, this year headed by Indonesia, includes an official main event called R20 Religious Forum, was held from Wednesday and Thursday for the first time ever at Bali in Indonesia to mobilize global leaders to help ensure that religion functions as an open and dynamic source of solutions rather than problems in the 21st century. India and Indonesia share 2 millennia of close cultural and commercial contact. The key domestic stock indices on Thursday witnessed marginal losses amid negative cues from global share markets. The Sensex closed below the 60,900 mark, while the Nifty settled below 18,100 level. A report from the business desk.
The Sensex declined 70 points to close at 60,836. The Nifty also fell 30 points to end at 18,053. At the global stock markets, Asian stock markets declined, following losses in the US stock markets. Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index plunged 3.1%, and Singapore's Straits Times declined 1.2%. South Korea's Kospi fell 0.3%, and China's Shanghai Composite Index ended 0.2% down. Trade did not take place in Japan's Nikkei due to a holiday there. European shares were also down in intraday trade. Oil prices fell around 1% as the dollar firmed up on the Federal Reserve's hawkish stance. On the other hand, concerns over looming supply risks capped the fall in prices. In intraday trade, Brent crude was trading at $95.30 per barrel. Back home at the multi-commodity exchange, gold futures for December was trading at 50,040 rupees per 10 grams. Silver futures for December was trading at 57,085 rupees per kilogram when reports last came in. Rajesh Lake for World News, All India Radio.
Moving on to sports, in badminton, Indian men's double pair of Satvik Sairaj Rangireddy and Chirag Shetty advanced to the quarterfinals of the Hilo Open at Saarbrücken in Germany on Thursday. The world number 8 Indian pair registered a win over England duo of Rory Easton and Zach Russ in the pre-quarterfinals. Later on Thursday evening, Kidambi Shrikant, Malvika Bansod and the men's double pairing of Krishna Prasad Vishnuvardhan Gaud will be in action.
Indian boxers Kapil Pokhariya and Sparsh Kumar bowed out of Asian Boxing Championships after losing their respective round of 16 bouts at Amman in Jordan on Thursday. Kapil, who was making his international debut, was defeated by Iran's Poria Amiri 5-0 in the 86 kg category. Sparsh went down fighting and lost the bout 1-4 against the Olympic bronze medalist and reigning world champion Sakhin Bibosonov of Kazakhstan in 51 kg event. Later tonight, Sabata will be in action against the Tokyo Olympic bronze medalist Tsukimi Namiki of Japan in the pre-quarterfinal bout 50 kg category. 5 Indian men boxers, including 5-time Asian medalist Shiva Thapa, will be in action on Friday. All of them will be playing in the pre-quarterfinal bouts. The competition is witnessing the participation of 267 boxers from 27 top boxing nations. In cricket, Pakistan defeated South Africa by 33 runs in the Group 2 match of Super 12 stage at T20 World Cup in Sydney on Thursday. Chasing a target of 142 runs as per the Duckworth-Lewis method, Proteas could score 108 runs, losing 9 wickets. The match was reduced to 14 overs for South Africa due to rain. Early electing to bat first, Pakistan made 185 runs for the loss of 9 wickets in the stipulated 20 overs. Shadab Khan was declared player of the match.
Now let us take a look at the major developments around the world as reported in the foreign press. The Financial Times in a lead item says Bank of England raises interest rates by 0.75 percentage points. The Guardian writes that Canadian bill would fine workers $4,000 for each day they strike. The Wall Street Journal reports that Israel's Benjamin Netanyahu edges closer to election win. The Washington Post, quoting a report, says Twitter employees await the axe in a new culture of secrecy and fear. The Washington Post writes that glaciers in Yosemite and Africa will disappear by 2050, UN warns. The Globe and Mail reports that Ethiopia and Tigray signed peace agreement in a bid to end devastating war. The New York Times says Qatar offered fans free World Cup trips, but only on its terms. CNN writes Luka Doncic becomes only third player in NBA history to record 7 30-plus points to begin the season. And Japan Times informs that North Korean ICBM launch that triggered alert may have failed in flight. It also reports that Japan aging nuclear plants may be checked at least once a decade. Now, a quick look at the headlines once again. India objects to unwarranted references to Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh in a joint statement of China and Pakistan. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar to embark on a 2-day visit to Russia on 7th November to hold talks with his Russian counterpart Sergei Lavrov. Pakistan's former Prime Minister Imran Khan injured in firing during protest march in eastern Punjab province. US and South Korea extend ongoing joint air drills amid tension in the region as North Korea fires multiple missiles. 6 grain ships leave Ukraine ports after Russia rejoins deal. UN report warns that Europe is warming at twice the global average. And in cricket, Pakistan defeats South Africa by 33 runs in Group 2 match of Super 12 stage in Men's T20 World Cup at Sydney. And now, before we end, let us listen to Mahatma Gandhi's favorite bhajan Vaishnav Jan by artists from Panama on their Independence Day. And with that, we end this bulletin. We'll be back at the same time tomorrow with the next edition of World News.